Hello again, guys, and welcome to Rage Against the Dice. This is part 4 of our How to Make a Wrestling Ring series, namely for Rumbleslam, in case you were curious. Today is the PVA part and the flock. We're going to just add a few little details to it. We're going to make it mossy and things like that. So let's get straight on to it. First thing you'll notice is we're using a whole new way of covering the table again. I'm just trying out different ways, see which works. Old bed sheeting. So, for this we need PVA, as I said, which I have, because I'm good like that. And then you need some flock, which is something we discussed, I believe, in part 1, maybe part 2. I don't know, it seems so long ago now. But anyway, I'm just putting some PVA on my palette. And again, just using a tile. You don't need to use a wet palette or anything like that. That's it. And then I'm just using a brush like this. And all we're doing, just capture a few little places. You don't want it to be particularly thick. So, I'm just going around areas where there might be little cracks and things like that. And then you start doing it in the cracks here as well. And you can do it as much or as little as you want. So you could go around every one of them, to be honest, and you could sprinkle it on. And all you're doing is, as I said, this is a flock I've made up of multiple different flocks. It's my all-purpose kind of flock. I use it when doing things like historical battles, because it's got bits of greens and bits of browns, bits of scorched earth and things like that in it. But you can use any kind of flock really. You want a darker flock, because it's meant to be sort of moss and things growing between the bits of rock. It's not actually, you know, grass or anything like that. So it looks quite thick at the minute, and that's okay. You can actually choose some patches where you have it a bit thicker, if you so desire. So like here, for instance, sprinkle it all on. Because I want it to be like a moss, because I'm using like a mixture of flock and static grass, I'm not going to activate the static grass at all. And if you're not really sure what that is, there's loads of websites online where you can look into how to activate static grass. Loads of YouTube videos. So I won't go into it too much today, because it's not something we're going to actually do. So theoretically, this one should be a pretty short video. As I said, we're just adding some little detailings in. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop it. I'm going to add some in. So I'm going to finish the rest of the board. Then I'm going to come back, show you it like this, and then we're going to bang off all the excess so that you can see what the board would look like once you've got all the thick patches off. Because at the minute, it looks like there's some huge patches of grass. So back in a minute, guys. So as you can see, we're back. One of the things that I have done is I found places like here, you can't pick it up very well on the camera, where when I've sprayed it with the aerosol, it's dissolved some of the holes. It's dissolved some of the polystyrene, which is something I didn't mention in the other video. When doing the polystyrene, there was bits that I didn't PVA as hard, so they'd melt slightly as the spray hit it. Back to what I was saying now. So what's happened is, those bits, I've put more moss and things like that in there, so it looks like it's growing inside of it. I've also put some up and down some of the things. So it's been left now for a few minutes. You don't want to leave it too long, because you don't want huge amounts to stick. So then what you do is you just spin it upside down. You can see there straight away most of it's come off. And then what you're left with is that. As I said, you could bang off as much as you like. And I like doing it just like this. Just not too hard, because remember you are bouncing on your turnbuckles. And we kind of get this effect. So Areas like here, which is against the ground in the corners and things like that, you'll notice if you've got like paving slabs in your garden or your front yard where the weeds would grow, these are the kind of places that you're looking at. So you can see we've got like the little patches there just to add a bit of effect. Tiny, tiny little bits here. So there you have it. That's kind of the next stage of where we're going to. And as I say, you can add as much or a little as this as you want. So you could go back again after that and you could again dot some more down. Big line of it. And then just use what was already on your mat or whatever protective thing you've put down and just re-sprinkle it. You know, it's all there. It might as well, you know, get repurposed back on. Sprinkle it on. You're not wanting loads. You know, you're not trying to flock the whole thing. You're not building a grass-based board and then straight away bang it off, and you can see just there, just like that little strip. One thing I was going to say, I don't know if I mentioned that in the other video, so I'm just going to quickly cover on it now. You don't have to, if you Google, you know, stone and caves and things like that, you'll see that they're not all greys and blacks and things. You can do a number of different colours. You get browns and things like that. You get some nice sort of reds and things. If you're going to make your wrestling ring, you can really paint it any of the colours you want. And the good thing is this technique kind of works with a lot of other scenery as well. So obviously we're doing it for wrestling because we're doing it for Rumbleslam. But if you play, say, Deep Wars and you want to make like underwater caves, I probably wouldn't put the grass bits, but other than that, if you were doing, you know, Age of Sigmar or something like that, you can make caves all using the exact same type of effect. It's really, really good for that. But no, so that's where we're at so far. So you can see. So just a recap of where we were going from point A to where we're at now. Get your board, mark it out. It needs to be at least 12 by 12. You're marking a 10 by 10 square in the middle. If you want to draw the lines on, you can. It purely depends on how you're going to build the next part of the ring. Then what you need to do is you sand or polyfiller or these edge bits, leaving the corner turnbuckle posts intact. Same as you leave this middle bit intact as well. Then what you do is you build these corner posts, which are an inch square. These ones aren't an inch square. Obviously, I've gone for an L shape due to previous problems we had on the project, which we've already covered, so we don't need to go into again. No need to make me look foolish multiple times. But yes, so you'd make them to the size you want. Your height is absolutely fine. What I tend to do, and what I did with these, is I measured my tallest Rumbleslam model, which I believe was the werewolf. I think that was the one I used because of the dynamic pose he's in, to make sure that it was big enough. Because if you've only got 1 inch square, you're going to need to put something on top like this in order for your wrestlers to stand on. Because what you have to remember is it is a functioning wrestling ring. So you want your wrestlers to be able to use it, to be able to stand on the turnbuckle. From the one I've done here, I don't actually think that I need to add anything to this. What I am going to do though is, because obviously we're going to be covering, and one we're going to do, which is for the Snow Bay board, uses a very similar starting point. So if obviously you watch the first couple of videos and you realise that the mistakes we did, we are going to rectify those in the next boards we do. And at that point we'll be able to show you everything, how we built them, how we build the bits that go on top, etc. And then we'll show you how we do the snow bit of it. And as you can see, as we're going through, I'm just finding some bits shaking off. Can you see how much excess is coming off that? But there you have it. So yes, so then we get that Then you cut out this bit, and you could do those as individual 1-inch squares. I'm sorry. Yeah, the 1-inch squares. My apologies. Yeah, so you can cut them as 1-inch squares, or you can make it as one long sheet. You lie them all down, and if you're making it as one sheet, you have to remember to score it. And I've got that uneven effect because that's what I wanted to go for. Then once you've got it like this, you need to cover it in multiple coats of a PVA or some other form of sealant to stop either your polystyrene or your insulation foam or whatever you're going to use from corroding when you spray it with an undercoat. Said 2 or 3 coats, and then what I would do is on the last coat of the last coat of protection you do into it, with your generic white school style PVA glue, I would then just sprinkle sand. Wouldn't sprinkle and kill it everywhere, and I would just do it finely, but it just gives you variations in textures. What you can also do is if you've used polyfiller on these bits, you can use polyfiller on some of the squares, like I've done it across here and across a few other bits. In areas like I've done here where it's sunk in, I specifically wanted it to corrode when I spray it. So when I did that, I just did less coats of a sealant, so less coats of PVA. So I'd PVA the whole thing once. Then when I was PVAing it the second and third time, because I did it 3 times, there was a few little areas I wanted to corrode, like here and here, and some more bits down here and things like that. So I didn't put thicker coats. Remember to leave each coat to dry. Then what you do is you spray it completely black first, and then you do the dry brushing steps. Next steps that we've got to do is things like ring ropes and things like that. But this now is perfectly usable. I am going to, as I said, I'm going to show you some little bits like how to make some little cornery bits. And what you can do is you can either make 4, have them attached all the time, or you can make 1 that you can then just, or you can make as many as you want, but you can have it so they just attach when you need them, much like the MDF ring. And what you'd do is you'd cut out the shape you want, which can either be round or it can be square to match your 1-inch pillar. You would smooth it all down exactly the same way as you did with these, coating it in PVA, texturing it, painting it up. And then what we're going to do is you drill a hole in the bottom of it, just using your normal pin vise, and you'd attach just a bit of wire or paper clip into it, then drill a hole in the top of here. And that means that when you slot it on, it will stay and it shouldn't wobble too much. I mean, you can balance a wrestler on it, but certainly in the next part we're going to cover that in more detail, and we're also going to very quickly run through the steps again on another board, which is going to be our ice board. So yes, we've got this to this stage. The next parts of the video, as I said, we're going to make the top bit for this, and we're going to seal this whole thing in a purity seal or like a matte varnish. And we're also going to start, hopefully if the bits have arrived, working on the other board, the tree board, the forest board that we were working on. But yeah, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed what we've done so far. You've enjoyed where the board's at. You're looking forward to seeing some more. But thank you very much for watching. Please take the time to like, subscribe, leave us some comments. If you do like these videos and you'd like us to do more terrain-based ones. Again, we aren't going for professional. We're going for quick and usable. And I think it looks very nice. For what it is, it was very cheap to make. A big bottle of PVA glue cost like £2 or £3. The flock I already had, but I would say it was probably like £5 worth of flock. The board I already had, but you can pick those boards up for like £2. And then the polystyrene I had lying around, but if you buy foam board, you're looking at £5 to £10. And from all that I've just mentioned, other than the boards, the bottom bit, you can build 5 or 6 boards out of just all those materials. Sand, again, I bought some cheap, very fine chinchilla sand, and that cost me about £1.50. But anyway, as always, pray the dice gods hope to smile upon you, and thank you very much for watching, guys. Take care.